The most compelling and controversial political image of the week so far was surely this. Keir Starmer being mobbed by anti-vaccine protesters, some of whom repeated the PM's controversial Jimmy Savile jibe. And yet there was no mention of any of this at today's PMQs. First off, Boris Johnson announced all COVID restrictions in England could be scrapped within weeks.
It is my expectation that we will be able to end the last domestic restrictions, including the legal requirement to self-isolate if you test positive, a full month early.
Then Keir Starmer focused on what his team believe are big issues for people across the UK: the cost of living, rising energy bills and fraud.
Was the Business Secretary right to say that fraud is not something that people experience in their day-to-day lives? The government is insulting people's intelligence by pretending it's giving them a discount. Isn't it just forcing people to take out a loan?
Now, Sky News analysis of Sir Keir's language today shows the words he used most include billions, pay, pounds, forcing, fraud, government loan, but also the word Chancellor. Now, Labour sources have told me they have detected huge public concern over the cost of living as well as fraud and scams, and they believe it's the Chancellor's biggest weakness. So why are they focusing on Rishi Sunak? Well, perhaps because they believe Boris Johnson's reputation has already been seriously damaged, and now they're trying to toxify one of those likely to succeed him.
On top of the Tory tax rises, on top of the soaring prices, the loan shark Chancellor and his unwitting sidekick have now kicked up a buy now, pay later scheme.
Well, the Prime Minister's response to the Labour leader was to attack the opposition's own approach to the crisis over energy bills.
What he would be doing, Mr. Speaker, is hitting the energy companies at precisely the moment when we need to encourage them to go for more gas, Mr. Speaker, because we need to transition now to cleaner fuels.
And Sky News analysis of Boris Johnson's own language shows different words appearing. Of course, plan, government, tackling country, crime, reason. And just as Partygate was abating, that very row was reignited during PMQs when the Mirror newspaper published this photo of the Prime Minister at a number 10 Christmas quiz with what looks like, on the left, a bottle of champagne.
Mr. Speaker, in the last few minutes, a photo has emerged of the Prime Minister in Downing Street on the 15th of December 2020, surrounded by alcohol, food and people wearing tinsel. It looks a lot like one of the Christmas parties he told us never happened.
It's worth noting from where I was sitting in the press gallery, Fabian Hamilton, that MP's question looked like it had been typed out, and therefore all of this may have been a little less off the cuff and a little more coordinated than it first seemed. But as soon as the new photo was mentioned, MPs across the chamber started looking at their phones. And this was the PM's response.
In what he has just said, I'm afraid he is completely in error.
We know Boris Johnson has recently been resetting, refreshing and reshuffling his team. Today, we saw many of the appointees in action, including the new Chief Whip, Chris Heaton-Harris, taking his seat on the government benches, new number 10 Chief of Staff Steve Barclay sitting next to the PM, and just behind, not just Mr Johnson's new policy chief, Andrew Griffith, but his enlarged team of parliamentary private secretaries. 4 MPs armed with ring binders who passed their boss briefing notes. Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng was ticked off by the Speaker for heckling.
If you want to carry on outside. I am not having this perpetual noise coming from the front bench. Secretary of State should know better, and I expect better.
And right near the end, in response to a spiky question from senior Tory Mark Harper, Boris Johnson made this commitment on Sue Gray's inquiry.
As soon as all the inquiries are concluded, I will immediately publish in full whatever Sue Gray gives me.
Well, the PM did succeed in making it through today's grilling without any scrapes. And Parliament's half-term recess starts tomorrow. So Boris Johnson now seems pretty safe from a leadership challenge until MPs return here in 12 days' time.